real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Joseph Scalzo says he grew up poor and he was a drug addict and an alcoholic all his life. Joseph claims as a result of his issues, he never tried to find the defendant, who he believes is his long-lost son. But he petitioned the court today for a paternity test to find out the truth. Defendant Wesley Buccelli grew up thinking his stepfather was his father, and it wasn't until he was a teenager that he discovered the truth. Wesley claims it was hard not knowing anything about Joseph, but he hopes they can have a relationship if they are proven to be father and son.
All right, and we're here for a paternity test today.
Yes, sir.
It's pretty special. See if you all are father and son.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's start with you, sir.
Well, sir, I just want to start off with apologizing to Wesley. I
You
have
assume it's your son? Is that what you're
I'm almost positive.
Okay.
But, you know, the thing about it is I was a bad drug addict and an alcoholic all my life. And I grew up really poor. My mom was a factory worker. My dad was an alcoholic. He wasn't around. They called him Johnny everywhere because he never came home. And my mom finally divorced him, married my stepfather. He brought us out of the slums. And I went from, you know, the poor people roof homes to fishing for trout in my yard, but it was too late.
Where did you all live, your formative years?
Eastern Pennsylvania. Right on
where Larry
Jersey
Holmes
border. Larry Holmes in my house is 3 miles away.
Yeah, that's a tough
He was
town.
on my wrestling team. I have a picture of him. I started wrestling.
Heavyweight champion, the former heavyweight champion who had been Muhammad Ali's training partner.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had been his training partner, Larry Holmes.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he was. And so that's why I learned that jab. He's the best jab you've seen in many
His house and my family's house is 4 miles away.
Okay. And that's a
From
tough
the
town.
place where we came out of the slums to the fishing for trout in our yard.
And that's a tough town. He did a lot to restore.
They
and renovate.
named the road Larry Holmes Drive, where they crossed the river, the Delaware River, the famous thing. They named that road for him. That's how much he's helped
he should
that
be.
town
He's
of Eastern
helped rebuild
Pennsylvania.
his community.
Oh.
And that's what we like to see with those who have been highly blessed.
Just want to start off with apologizing to Wesley. I
You
have
assume it's your son? Is that what you're
I'm almost positive. But, you know, the thing about it is I was a bad drug addict and an alcoholic all my life. And I grew up really poor. My mom was a factory worker. My dad was an alcoholic.
Plaintiff Joseph Scalzo petitioned the court for a paternity test to see if the defendant is his long-lost son, whom he admits he never looked for until now as a result of his drug addiction.
You in that tough area, what age?
Well,
in the tough
my
area?
mom finally divorced my dad when I was 10. And we moved out of the poor place to the thing. And
How old were you when you moved
I was
out?
11.
11? Okay,
And
so
I was
from
already
age,
doing drugs and drinking.
you were already doing it?
LSD at 12 years old.
Yep.
It was bad. But,
Tell me how you progressed.
well, I was a drug addict
Right.
and drinking, and I played sports because I had to. Well, I wrestled since I was 5. I wrestled baseball and football.
And that didn't deter you from drugs?
I quit drugs during the season.
There you go.
And then I smoked cigarettes after the season.
All right.
And then in high school, we had to run around the school.
Yeah.
And then I would be skipping school and then be on practice. And then they'd tell the coach.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
9th grade in high school, 9th grade, it was junior high back then in any high school. I never lost a match, and I won the Junior Olympics in wrestling. I could have had potential, but I had no help. My sister said, that we had guidance, but I didn't have any guidance. I was on my own, you know, and I went in the military because I had to. Out of high school in the delayed entry program, they put me in the special forces, and I did really well. 5 years, I was E5. They wanted me to stay in, but I didn't, and I should have. I got out of the military, I was worse. So I was a train killer, and I was an alcoholic and a drug.
Were you getting high in the military or drinking all the time?
Are you kidding me?
I knew a lot about
I got stationed in Morocco. I turned into a Muslim. I still remember that thing. I had to go before the Moroccan judge and say, Ashhadu ilaha illallah, Ashhadu Muhammadu Rasulullah, 3 times. And then I became a Muslim. Otherwise, I would be arrested for walking down the street with her. Because if you're with a Muslim girl and you're walking down the street with her, you are arrested. One time I was
If you're not a Muslim.
If you're not a Muslim. So I had to go in front of the judge, become a Muslim, and carry that paperwork around with me, because we did get arrested one time before I became a Muslim, and I went and had to run home and get a carton of cigarettes for the police. But the thing about it is I had a 5-bedroom place. There was 3 black guys and me and a white guy, 5 of us, all military. And she was my girl, I'll admit it. I was with her every night. But once every 8 days, I had to do service and stay on the base, right? Yeah. I was 48 years old, and I finally quit drinking and drugs. I was functional. I've been working the last 24 years, room service. But I was a drug addict the whole time. They knew it.
How'd you get off?
How did I get off?
Yes.
I have a dictator, my wife. I married her 15 years ago, and it's the best thing I ever did, but she's really forceful on me. I shouldn't say that. She's going to kill me.
I'm sorry. I
call her Duterte.
But that goes right together. I shouldn't say that. She's going to kill me.
I know. I watch you all the time. I know your wife's the boss.
Yeah, she absolutely.
I know. That's why there's divorces, because the men want to be the boss. Doyle, I hope you're not the boss.
No, I'm not.
Because that's why you're not going to get a divorce then.
Yeah.
And then I just want to say I'm so sorry for Wesley. He shouldn't have had to wait all this time. This guy from my work, I went on The Biggest Loser. I just lost 100 and some pounds this year. I haven't missed a day in the gym for a year and a half.
How long ago were you on it?
12 years ago, and they didn't pick me. But my stupid friend from work put the video on YouTube, and that's how he found me.
But you had lost 100 pounds?
I just lost 150 pounds in the last 2 years. You have the picture.
Wow. It's amazing. All right, and let me hear from you, sir.
Yeah, my story is I come from a third world country. My
Where?
mother, Morocco.
Yeah, okay.
This was back in the day, so it's a little modern now. But like, I was age 5 when I came here, and
Did you get in any trouble since you?
No,
You weren't a trouble
my
kid?
teenage years, you know, my stepdad kind of put his foot down. He was Special Forces Green Beret. He was in the.
He was
military,
Special
too.
Forces.
Yeah, and so he.
Your mom liked Special Forces.
Mama had a thing for Special
she
Forces.
She went for the top, right? Isn't that like the top soldier in the military?
Cream of the crop.
Yeah, he's the cream of the crop. Your mother knows she goes after the big timers.
Plaintiff Joseph Scalzo petitioned the court for a paternity test to see if the defendant is his long-lost son, whom he admits he never looked for until now as a result of his drug addiction.
Go ahead.
So he raised me when I got a little
Stepfather.
older. When I got a little older, I kind of questioned things because, you know, as you're a kid, you don't really question those things. You know what I mean? So I got a little older. There was differences. My brothers and sisters came along. So I used that against him, which I regret. He passed away a couple years ago. He was rough on me.
How did you use it against him?
Yeah,
I mean,
you know, my
what
father.
made you-
You
what
know,
did he do
things
to
like
you?
that. He tried to control. You know, I'm a teenager. You know, you get in trouble in school, stuff like that. So he would use that, and then I would use it against him. But after I found out that my mother told me the story of Joe, you know, Joe.
What did she tell you?
She told me that, you know, my stepfather's not my real father. My real father was in the Navy.
At what age?
Probably like 14, 15. It's a little cloudy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I question a lot of things. It was hard. It was hard not knowing. I'm going to say something to you. It was hard not knowing.
It was hard for me,
The
bro.
unknown was the roughest. To not knowing who you were, who your family was.
I know, and I feel bad, and I'm so
Why
sorry.
you didn't come back? Because I knew you knew. I knew you knew.
I knew, but
He was a drug
there's
addict.
underlying
I
circumstances
understand. No, I understand.
that
I
I
understand.
didn't want to really reveal.
Yeah, you're right. Make him explain.
All
Not
right.
just say, I was a drug addict. I'm sorry. No, explain.
I
I'm
could be a
with you.
drug addict, but I'm not.
I'm
You know what
with
I mean?
you. Go
You want
ahead.
me to explain?
Yes,
All
to
right.
him.
But I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I just want to say the hardest thing was not knowing, the unknown, not knowing your side, you know, not knowing why you didn't come back, why you didn't want me in your life. But at this point in my life, I'm 43 years old, and I forgive you as a man.
I will never
I forgive you, and I have no anger towards you at all. I have my own family. I have my own wife. If it wasn't for my wife to this day, we probably wouldn't have this conversation. My wife is my stone. She keeps me in line, and I love her for it. And we probably wouldn't have this conversation today if it wasn't for her. And I forgive you, and I appreciate you being here.
So sorry.
And it is what it is. Life goes on. I would love to have a relationship with this man. I don't hold any grudges against him. I understand his story. I understand my story. We are in a greater place today, and that's all that matters. Thanks. I forgive you, Joe.
Well, we're
forgive
not
you.
sure yet.
I admire you.
I'm pretty sure.
I admire you, sir.
I admire him too. And
I wouldn't do any of that. In fact, I didn't know my dad. I knew he existed. I knew in the neighborhood he lived in, and I knew he had a whole separate family he had went and made. But he never associated with me, never came around. I didn't care. Still don't care. I wasn't angry with him. You don't want me, I don't want you. You don't want to come around me, I don't want to be around you either. Ever. Go ahead.
If I was 20, we'd be fist fighting, but I'm grown now.
I have zero. Maybe I'm angry, and maybe that's the way I cope with the anger, is that I don't care about you or whatever. You want to know me, I want to know you. I'm better off without you, obviously.
Yep.
And as we said, all our wives changed our life.
Yep,
All our wives.
that's it.
That's
Your
what
wife
happened to
gave
me.
you the ultimatum.
If I didn't have her,
I
would
dated
be
my
dead.
wife for a year, and she saw I was still half thugged out up on the college campus. She said, "You're going to have to stop being a thug or I'm leaving." And I changed because of her. Your wife has changed your life.
I love her. Daniela Medesha, I love you.
There you go.
Best.
So you said,
I love my wife Frida more than anything in the world. If I wouldn't have her 15 years ago, if I didn't marry her, I would be dead for sure. I could not stop smoking crack. I was drinking beer, a case of beer every day, a bottle of vodka, and an 8-ball of crack for 8 years. Every day. I didn't work.
You don't drink no smoke no 8-ball a day.
I didn't work, and we smoked coke all night. I was selling drugs. I went to jail, in and out of jail. After the military, I didn't work for 8 years.
So at least you were sharing that 8-ball with
8
somebody.
years. I didn't work, and I lived in a penthouse. I went to jail so many times, I didn't even give a And then I'm
Watch
sorry
your
about swearing. And the judge, finally, they sent me to jail because I didn't ever get caught selling drugs. But the thing is, they caught me with all this stolen that I used to give
I
drugs.
told you, I'm going to
stole
stop
stuff.
you. I've asked you to stop.
I'm sorry. I'll
And
never
I'm going
stop.
to reveal the
I'm
results
sorry.
now after I do what you guys just did.
I'm so
I'm going
sorry,
to play
sir.
me, get me in trouble.
I'm sorry.
Linda, I love you.
I love
you
you.
changed my
I'm in
life.
trouble now.
And you changed my life, you know that, and
My
I
wife's gonna
attribute
kill
that
me
to her all the
Swear.
time.
She's going to kill me.
Plaintiff Joseph Scalzo petitioned the court for a paternity test to see if the defendant is his long-lost son, whom he admits he never looked for until now, as a result of his drug addiction.
I don't know. This is inconclusive. It says 99.9999999%.
There it is.
You are the father.
That's what my wife said.
There you go.
But
I meant
I
every
want
word
to
I
work
said.
on it from now on.
Absolutely.
I'm coming to Boston. Me and my
Absolutely.
wife are going to come, I'm going to put you in my life insurance too. I
Ab-
wasn't there for you, but from now on, I'm going to be there for you.
Love it.
I love you.
Shane.
Good man. Good man.
I'm so sorry.
I knew it.
It's all right. It's all right.
You're a good man. You're a bigger man than me.
Thank you, sir.
I don't want to cry. I'm glad you're here now. I'm glad you're here now.
I'm sorry.
been
I'm
a
so
long time.
sorry. Tell your mom I'm sorry. I knew it. I knew it all these
She'll be
years.
fine.
I knew it. I
She'll be
knew
fine.
it.
She'll be fine. She's a strong woman. She'll
I'm
be fine.
sorry.
I respect you for being here today.
I initiated this because
yeah.
I felt so bad.
I know.
I wanted this.
I forgive you
Before
for a
I
lot
died.
of things.
I wouldn't have forgave mine. I wouldn't. If I was you, I wouldn't forgive me. So
forgive
you're a
you.
bigger man than me.
I forgive you.